Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Networking Habits. I'm really excited to have Adnan on here. We've been connecting off and on for I'd say about 2 or 3 weeks now. We had a good buddy of ours named Vinny, and he's been great to connect with. And of course, anyone who introduces me from Vinny, I'm like, I need to talk to you. So Adnan got and I got connected, and he networks as well. One thing we were talking about before he got on here is he does it at least one time in person, and you go to in-person events commonly as well.
Yeah, it's a very not events so much to speak actually, and I want to start delving into that a little bit more.
Hmm.
And I've actually talked to Vinny about this
Oh yeah.
specifically because the networking group we know each other from regularly hosts these things in Toronto.
Oh,
But
cool.
the in-person event stuff scares me a little bit because
Really?
there's the connotations of like people just standing around,
Mm.
minding their own business in little groups and stuff like that. So. I'm much more comfortable with the idea of,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's in person, like a close-knit group of regulars where
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
sitting there around the table and talking to each other. That
Yeah.
one's much easier for me, but that's what I indulge in usually.
That's fair. That's fair. Cool,
I have
man.
to
I
try
get
it
it.
sometime though.
Yeah. 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 No, I can get that. And I think you're right. I think some in-person networking events can be awkward for that exact reason. And therefore, it's kind of like, online almost becomes nice, or just doing a one-on-one with like a casual setting in person, like a coffee shop or something like that.
Those are my favorite for
Yeah.
sure. Coffee shop, and just chilling, just talking. Even
Yeah.
if it's a networking thing for business, doesn't always have to be talking about business. I know you're not a big fan of idle chit chat for no reason, as we talked about. But to start a little bit and then
Yeah.
actually learning about people's businesses is very cool. Um, there's so many people in so many different industries that you can learn about just by
Mhm.
talking to people, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. It makes a big difference too, because when you have like all those different little industries that people are in, I think it helps connect others to others by doing that. Like before, we were talking about like connecting people with connecting other people. And I think that's one of the great things about networking is I think people have this preconceived idea when they first start doing it. Like it was really confusing for me when I started doing it, that I was like, how does this work? Why does this work? Why do I even do this? And then over through the weeks, months, and now years, it just becomes more and more obvious that just by word of mouth alone, which was the original form of marketing,
Mhm.
that you can figure things out if you pursue it in the right way and getting into the right sort of rooms and that type of thing.
Yeah, and I thought networking, word of mouth, I thought the way that would work would mostly be like, or not even necessarily from a word of mouth perspective. I just thought networking would be okay, I'm meeting people I'm gonna provide a service for, but that isn't how it works out a lot of the time. It works out so that you get in touch with these people and then they get you in touch with someone that you might be able to actually help with your services,
Yes. Yes.
which I
Yes.
wasn't expecting that really.
Right, right. And I'm curious for you, like when did you start networking in the field of what you're doing?
Definitely less than 2 months ago, I think. And I kind of started the online group that me and Vinny both attend. I started that one and I started going to I don't know why I said I started that. I started going to that and I started going to the in-person one, both within the same week. So
Oh,
I
really?
went from zero networking to like two groups, and I regularly attend both. And yeah, it's just every week I'll be in those groups. I'll be talking to people, sharing information about myself, learning about people, and yeah, I really like how it's all regular and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Set times every week that helps you
Yeah.
clear it out in your schedule, and then just go in there and get it done, you know?
Oh, yeah, totally. I think that's a big part to it, is just making sure you not only setting that time aside, but knowing it preemptively so you can kind of like plan it out or think with it in the very least.
Yeah, and like even knowing someone like you, there's another person, and I keep referencing that one other group that me and Vinny are both in, but
Yeah, yeah.
these groups, there's always so many people that are, I feel like, are like me, where they're just starting networking. They have a
Okay.
very small network and they're kind of in there to help build that, right? That's why
Yeah.
they join the groups. And then there's like the leaders of those groups, or at least like the founders, where those people have a lot of connections. So after one of those meetings, or one of those virtual networking meetings I attended, I got in touch with the founder after. I had a little
Mm,
one-on-one with her, and she put me in touch with like 5 or 6 people in her network.
really?
Yeah, so my schedule was packed for like a week straight,
Oh
just getting on
wow.
these like half-hour to 1 hour calls with these
Yeah.
individuals. And yeah, it was really cool. It's not even just like for me to help them with websites. It's these people might be able to help your business grow
Wow.
by providing like accessory services adjacent to web design and stuff like that.
Wow. That's cool. So it's kind of like if they come, if you have one person that needs something, then you can connect them with those other people. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, and it's not like not just like a random connection. It's a connection that's still kind of like it's connected to web design. So, for example, I got in touch with an SEO person from that. I got in
Yep.
touch from a social media person, a social media manager, an ads person. So these are all like services that I don't necessarily want to learn or dedicate time to
Yep.
myself
Yeah.
because I'm a web designer. That's what my
Right.
bread and butter is, as I always say. And it just helps to have those people in your network so you can refer clients to them when they have those needs. And then if they do a good job, it just boosts whatever my website's doing for them, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I don't have to commit to actually like learning that skill in the end. I can focus on web design. So that's
No,
a
and
nice plus as well.
I think you're right. I think you're right. There was Marshall Brooks, who is a great guy to network with. He has that viewpoint as well. He's like one of the from what I understand from what he's talked about, it's like when you have a big network of people, it's almost like you can just focus in on whatever you need to focus on, and then you can just let your network kind of handle the rest. And in a way, that has its own benefits because that way everybody's getting a little piece of the pie, so to speak,
Hmm.
in relation to like, hey, we're helping this one person out, and we can basically make them successful just from our skill sets alone. Like I go to Marshall every single time I have an ads question on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And he's such a go-to guy because he makes it very easy to talk to him and he's just there to help you too. And that's where I think real networking makes a difference is when you're looking for, hey, how do we help each other out? Not
Hmm.
so much like when are you going to buy from me? It's a little bit of a shift in viewpoint, I think.
100%. When I started networking as if it was like a an on and off switch, which it really isn't, but like when the idea is something like when it became something I really knew I wanted to do,
Yeah.
I came to that realization very fast, and it's completely fine, you know?
Mm.
At the end of the day, there's benefits to it. Like you
Yeah.
said, the everyone gets a piece of the pie thing, and then also just you get the best outcomes for whatever client you're working with or anything like that. So there's a lot of benefits to it. And I think it's better that way. It doesn't
Mhm.
make sense. Even just thinking about it, it doesn't make sense to try to learn how to do everything yourself. You're never going to be good at everything, right?
No.
It's like jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
It's better to just have those people in your network to supplement your primary service, whatever you're a specialist at.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. And it's kind of nice too that you kind of have that because in the back of your mind, you can have that relief of like, oh, I don't have to learn everything. For the longest time, I was just afraid to run ads because I was like, I had another friend who was like, I dumped like 3 grand into ads and I earned no money. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to do those things. But anytime I have anything that comes to my mind about ads or running ads or anything, I'm just like, I just instantly think of Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, I from that perspective, it also sounds kind of like a mentor, which is another aspect of networking because you can network within your own field,
Yeah.
and you could just be getting in touch with people that are further along that journey than you are, and you can learn so many kinds of things from them. So, for
Oh, yeah.
example, I started my web design agency because I found a guy on Reddit who was talking about it, and he was a Uber driver or something like that, and in between his rides, he was learning how to code. He
Really?
started, yeah. So every in between his drives, he was learning how to code. I think he already had like a kid at the time as well. His wife was in the military,
Oh my
so he
gosh.
wanted some way to make some extra money. And I think it was actually another Redditor bought him a laptop because his other one broke that he was learning off of. So
Okay.
it's a really cool, almost unbelievable story. I could prove it to you though. There's a video on it. But
That's
yeah, he runs
funny.
a really successful web design agency now
Yeah.
out of Washington State. And he pretty much taught me everything, like everything I know about web design, not just from the coding and
Interesting.
making websites aspect, but like how to run the business. I literally followed his, he has a freelancing guide,
Uh-huh.
completely free. This is not like a
Really?
guru selling information. He's just very, very helpful and open about what worked for him.
Yeah.
And that's how I started. And now I'm in the place that I'm at only because of him. Without him, impossible. I
Wow.
would not be doing web design. especially not as a business.
Wow. That's interesting, man. I respect that. It's cool that you can come across those people that you really like or feel are helpful in that kind of way.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like some people are in it to sell courses and stuff like that. But some people are also just 100% in it just to share their story, especially if they come from a spot where they didn't really know what the future was going to look like for them and they stumbled upon something that made them successful and happy. They're almost always more than welcome to share it, even if it doesn't cost them any money or if they don't get any money from it rather.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I like that. What are some of the things that you feel like have really helped you with networking? Is like when, like, let's say, for example, like even just getting a client or something along those lines. Like what for you was something that you're like, oh, this was one of the things that helped me out in that transition process.
I think when it comes to networking, one of the most important things is just to be social and stuff like that. So the way I got into that in-person networking group that we've always talked about is because I was scrolling on Instagram one day and I saw a young guy with an Instagram ad, and he was talking about in my city. He was talking about how he runs a business where he does wine giftings
Yeah.
for people. So, for example, if a real estate agent sells a house to a client and they want to give them a gift, which
Uh-huh.
a lot of them are looking for gifts after something like that,
Yeah.
they can use his service, and he drops off a wine box with it could
Wow.
have the real estate agent's or their company's logo, and it has a wine bottle because he's a wine sommelier, so he knows about wine obviously, and he
Yeah.
pairs it with like a relevant pasta dish with recipes and all that
Huh.
stuff. So it's like a gift box essentially,
Yeah.
transactional gift boxes, and I just saw him make this ad on Instagram. I DM'd him and I was like, dude, this is like one of the coolest things I've ever heard of, and long story short, after like meeting him, and we're both in the same city. We're both young entrepreneurs. We
Yeah.
met each other for coffee, and he's like, "Dude, I just started going to this in-person networking group. I think you'd be a really good fit for it." And that's how that started. That never would have happened unless I saw this and I was like, "Oh, let me like just talk to not to sell him a website or
No
anything like that,
way.
just to like talk to him about his business because I thought it was so cool." So you really have to be
Wow.
a go-getter in that aspect, and not even just like by your nature be a go-getter. I'm definitely not a go-getter when it comes to social things like that, but
Okay.
you got to take some opportunities like that and just see what happens, you know? Just
Yeah.
talk to people, see what happens, because you never know
Wow.
what's going to happen in the end.
I completely agree with you. I mean, there was one of my favorite networking things started. I met a guy named Josh Boos like 7 years ago, and we actually connected originally online, just on Facebook. And we finally met in person after like 6 years of networking for the first time, and it was great. Really great to meet him. Awesome dude. And he introduced me to someone I think within the last year named Marina. And I was like, cool, Marina's awesome. And then she introduced me to bookkeeping, which was like, oh wow, this is like a neat field to like pursue and check out. And then I jumped on one of her networking calls, and through that I met a guy named Parker McCumber. And I don't know if you know him or not, but he has earned over $1 million with one of his products. And then in addition to that, he then figured out how to make $10 million off of one of his products. And I'm just like, what? Like, that's crazy that because I knew Josh, I got to meet Parker. And I don't think Josh knows Parker.
Oh, because it was through that lady in between, the
Yeah.
bookkeeping stuff.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Marina knew Josh, and Josh knew Marina, and Marina knew Parker.
Yeah, and like meeting people like that, obviously everyone in your network has some value to you.
Yeah.
But the people that have been extremely financially successful have something that other people probably don't have, at least yet, where like they did something right or they know something that helped them get to that point. And
Yes.
I can't imagine how you would meet someone like that if not for some latent connection in your network or something like that. That's
Yeah.
the only way, right? You're not going to find this person on the street or see them posting an Instagram ad about themselves or talking about their. That's the only way to meet someone like that, and then I guess you can get some special benefits from or some more unique benefits from interacting and actually meeting those people. But that's cool. Yeah, it's cool how it works like that sometimes, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's nice. I thoroughly enjoy the process and everything, how it goes together so well.
And for your all of your, I feel like your networking, your whole network in general is
Yeah.
such like a it's so how to say this? Like everyone does something pretty unique and different,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
cool. You don't want like a just like financial person network. I feel like that would get not boring, but there's no
There's no
flavor in that,
point
you know?
anymore. It's like we're all here to finance each other.
I mean, if they broke it up into distinct enough fields, it could work. Who knows? But
Sure,
like,
sure.
I I love meeting people that do completely different things from or things that I didn't even know about at all or know
Yeah.
existed, and it's so much more interesting
Hmm.
expanding your network and meeting new people when they're coming at you with something like I didn't even know this was I
Hmm.
didn't know this was a service that people paid for, that people provided even.
Oh, with networking, or what do you mean?
No, like just the people you can meet through networking
Oh,
have
yeah.
such unique services or offerings or whatever their business is, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many things that you can learn about from networking or learn ex that they exist that you would never would have assumed that those kinds of services exist. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
right. Yeah, yeah. And their uses all by themselves and how much they can play a part in someone's life. And then that's exactly, yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, well, the best example I can think of that is a person I got put in touch with.
Yeah,
He has like a PR firm, kind of like a PR management firm,
yeah.
and he primarily works with like if you ever see an Instagram account and it has like less than 1,000 followers, but you see this person talking on a stage, and they're like declaring themselves as like an expert in something, and it looks like it's professionally recorded, and they're on a stage and they're presenting to a group of people and all that stuff. He's basically the one that sets that up.
Oh,
So he
nice.
sets like stages up for a bunch of his clients to talk onto, and he professionally records everything, or
Hmm.
him and his team does, and then he like edits all the videos and posts them on Instagram for these people because like you wouldn't expect someone with 400 Instagram followers to be on a stage with a professional recorded video of them like presenting to a group as an
No,
expert, right?
of course
But
not.
that's what his service is. It gives
It's
people
pretty awesome.
credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Oh, it totally does.
he also does other things like he gets them to become an Amazon bestseller
Mm.
by getting them to co-author like a chapter in books that are getting released by like more known authors and stuff like that, so they can say they're an Amazon bestseller.
Hmm.
He gets them on like talk shows and stuff like that, podcasts. So it's very interesting, and it all makes sense because people need PR. So it makes sense that this
Hmm.
service exists, but you just probably wouldn't think that
Hmm.
this is a service that people are specifically providing, you know?
Hmm. 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 Yeah,
So,
I think you're totally right.
so many interesting things, man. So many
Oh, yeah.
different offerings and services people provide.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. Cool, cool, cool. And then I'm curious, man, to know more about your business as well. Like, how long have you been doing this for? I mean, it sounds like you figured out this out through a guy that learned coding on his phone while driving Uber.
Yeah. So I started, or I guess I kind of started with my own business. I go to a martial arts gym in downtown Toronto, and when I kind of thought that, okay, this is something I'm going to start doing, I offered to remake their website for them. They accepted, and then nothing really came about that. That was like maybe 2 years ago or something like that, and that was just chilling. That was my first client, my only client, the only person I was working with. Um, but then at the end of like maybe a year and a half ago, a year ago or something like that, I really started taking it more seriously. Um, I've been a self-taught programmer for many years, but like doing web design for business websites is something completely different. The needs are way different, and making something effective that's actually going to help the business is way different. These people don't need like really crazy web apps that are super dynamic, something like Instagram or anything like that, right? They don't need any of that. They need something that loads fast, converts well, does good on Google, and tells people all the key information they need to know about this particular business, right?
Yeah.
So that approach that I took to making websites was to hand code everything from scratch. I don't use like page builders like WordPress or Wix or anything like that.
Hmm.
Those tools make it easier for people to make websites because obviously business owners can use those tools themselves, right? But you don't get the highest quality. And if someone's paying me to make them a website, it should be the highest quality possible. And that's just going to be the best outcomes for their business. So that's why I hand code everything.
Nice.
And because everything's hand coded, business owners can't really go in and change things themselves. So I also just provide like very I have to be very involved in the maintenance and updates of these websites because business owners can't change it themselves. So if they need anything, they just let me know. But yeah, essentially I become the personal web designer for all these businesses, and yeah, I keep making calls, selling websites, and that's how my business has been going. I learn how to make them well, and find more people to make them for.
That's cool. That's cool. I'm curious with that because I've met a couple other people that do that and really like doing that as well. Like, what's one of the successful tips that you've used to like help you grow that business?
I mean, the only thing I can say is that outreach matters more than anything
Hmm.
because I know a web designer from Australia and she's very, very good at making websites and she's been doing this longer than me, but her business is not growing at the pace that others people's businesses are growing because she doesn't want to make cold calls. She has like a very mental block. She doesn't want like the rejection, everything, which is completely normal. When I started making cold calls, however many years ago it was, I would go to the beer store, I'd get a beer, and I would get drink the whole, and then I would like start doing my cold calls because I was too nervous to do anything, do it like completely sober. It was too much for me. But
Really?
now I'm at the point where, yeah, now I'm at the point where if I see someone on the street or if I see a van pass by, I can just dial them up and talk to them, and it just comes with practice, right?
Yeah. But no, I just
Yeah,
want to make sure I'm getting this right. You were so apprehensive to talk to people that you initially would start drinking. Were you like a drinker or
not at
did
all.
really you drank
No.
specifically so you could build up the
Yes,
courage?
yes, sir.
How did you know that would work?
That's what alcohol does. Like, if the only times I drink before that,
The
my cousins
best.
have gigantic parties, like family gatherings, and there's too many people there for me to like do it completely sober. So I would do the same tactic there. Just like one beer, Nothing crazy.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
one. So I'm still functioning. It's just I'm a lot more sociable in those kinds of situations. But yeah, man, like
That's
I don't know.
hilarious.
Cold calling is just something a lot of people have a mental block with, and I knew I was going to need to do it to grow my business. So I was like, I have to get used to this. I have to dial out these numbers, call these people one way or another, and that's what I had to do at the start. But as time went on, it just never needed it anymore.
Huh. Cool. Well, good for you, man. I respect that. And do you cold call businesses as well? Because I noticed earlier in the call you said that you one of the first things you'll say is, I'm local in this area. Is that
Yeah.
do you
So I essentially, there's a couple of ways I find lists of people to call. I mean, sometimes I'll see a van pass by with a business's logo. I don't make websites specifically for contractors, but most of my guys are contractors because a good website can really help their business. If they do like $20,000 kitchen remodels, one extra job a year will pay off the website completely. Um, so like those guys are the people I work around the most with. And at the start, I would just find them on Google. I would say, okay, who has good Google ratings? Because I don't want to. If someone has 1 star and the reviews say, oh, they never actually finished the job, blah blah blah, they just took my money and ran. I'm probably not going to call that person, right? I want people that other people trust at least.
Yeah.
So I'd find businesses with good reviews, bad websites or no websites, and yeah, I would just dial, give them a call, say, hey, my name's Adnan. I'm actually a web designer from Toronto. I noticed that blah 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 with your website, and I just wanted to know if you like want some help with that.
Yeah.
And if they say no, whatever. I'm not the type of salesperson where like you have to overcome every objection possible. If they're not interested, completely fine, man. There's always someone else to call. Um, I think that's also part of the reason why I've never ran into the issue where like people scream at me on cold calls or
Oh
get like
wow.
really abusive, which some people are scared
Interesting.
of.
Yeah.
Never happens to me. It might just be because as soon as someone says no, I'm like, okay, have a nice day, sir. Bye.
Oh really? So you literally just drop it and leave it alone.
Oh yeah. I don't need to I don't want to try to convince someone that either thinks that they don't need a website or
Interesting.
it depends. If they provide some pushbacks after they seemed a little bit interested, then I'll kind of try to explain things in the
Sure.
best way possible
Sure.
to kind of persuade them. But if they're like very hard set against it, no, I don't want to get yelled at. Why?
Interesting. I like that so much because I've been listening and following some of these guys who are in sales and stuff like that. And like one of the main things they said is like if you don't get a sale, it's like it's the worst thing ever, you know what I mean? And like I don't listening to you talk, it's more like about taking the action, which is more important than getting the sale in some cases, because it's almost like building that momentum in the right direction, which helps create the results that you want. Because regardless if you attain the results in the beginning or not,
Hmm.
is almost less important because you're putting in the action that goes towards the right direction. And I think that is what is more valuable because even if you don't have a good idea of what you're necessarily looking for, what you're trying to do, as long as you head in that general direction, you'll kind of like, what's the word I want to use? Like you'll kind of pinball against things where you're like, oh, that that really doesn't work. But that really doesn't work. This works a little better. That works a little bit better. And by doing those things, you kind of combine this well-pieced puzzle that you essentially are finding the pieces and putting it together
Hmm.
yourself. And by doing so, you're creating those longer lasting results, which I think in turn are going to help you the most, right? Because you can get help and advice and quick tips on how to do better, but until the person experiences it and does it themselves is when the changing moment happens.
Yeah. So two things on that.
Yeah.
One, it's definitely every call has value because you learned something.
Yeah.
There's almost no calls that are identical, right? Even if it's them, even if it's ultimately them saying like no thanks, after I just give my little spiel, it's almost always different. And I mean, it's also different depending on what their website looks like. You know, two people saying the same thing is different if they have a website and if they don't have a website. There's still something you can learn from it. But one of the ways I've heard it put, in terms of like how to keep that motivation to like just keep progressing forward, even if it's not a sale, is to calculate how many calls it takes for you to make a sale. And whatever dollar amount that is, you divide it by how many calls it took. And then
Okay.
every time you dial the phone and make a call, you just put that much money in your bank account. So if it's like $100 sale after 50 calls, every call is worth $2. So every time you make a call, you get $2 in your bank account, basically. That's a way to think about it to kind of motivate you to keep doing it. Although ultimately you can go 600 calls, not make a single sale, and it would suck, but it happens sometimes. And yeah, it just it's going towards the goal and meeting new people. I've had calls or conversations where these people are clearly not interested and I'm not going to sell them a website. I will stay on the phone with them for like an hour or an hour and a half before, just because they're talking, and these are like very interesting. I had a guy tell me he's like part of the Freemasons or the Illuminati or something like that, and he doesn't need a website. But I was like, I need to stay on the line. I need to talk to this guy. So
That's funny.
yeah,
I like
I
that you
think
huh?
yeah.
No, I like that you're getting something out of it. Like even if it's not for the financial value,
Mhm.
it's like fulfilling something for you. I can clearly see.
Oh yeah. And that's the other thing as well. I think if you are so focused on sales that you have to beat every objection and your calls are kind of doing with that in mind, where you're like, okay, I'm going to overcome this objection with this part of my script, I think you just naturally come off as more disingenuous or not as authentic. And one thing I've heard from so many people in person and mostly online, because online is a lot um, more like anonymity. Holy, that's a hard word. But something I've heard a lot is that I come off as very genuine, which I'm trying to achieve. One, because that's very contrast with the rest of my peers. Like my competitors are all probably just focused on sales and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So I think it really stands out if you come off as more authentic, but it also just makes me feel better. If I was calling people and they're like, "Now you seem like a scammer," I don't know if I would have the heart to continue. But these people have pleasant conversations with me. They keep wanting to talk to me for longer and longer, even if it's not a sale. So I guess I find that as motivation as well. Like you said, I find something positive in it.
that's good. That's good. I think
Yeah.
that makes a huge, huge difference. Good for you, man. I really like your approach and your style and everything. And I do want to share this little story because it's I think it's really what guided me here. Because when I first got started back in 2013, I was literally on the street talking to random strangers, collecting as many phone numbers as I possibly could. And I was doing this in Denver, Colorado, and in the middle of the city, I ended up, I went to grocery stores, Uber rides, people literally on the street, complete strangers. And I would go up to them and I'd talk to them. And I got a lot better at like collecting phone numbers and that type of thing. And I think it really hit me that after about 4 years that I hadn't made a single sign up, I hadn't closed a single person for anything. And it was very clear to me that I either wasn't doing it right at all
Mhm.
or it wasn't working.
It definitely sounds like that. It
Yeah.
definitely sounds like that. And did you change it at all, and or did you just completely abandon however?
No, well, I would take breaks, is the way I would put it. Like in my mind, I was like, I'm quitting. I'm never doing this again. This is awkward. I humiliated myself. This is embarrassing. I never want to do this again. And then give me a month or so and I was back at it in some way. But honestly, that's what led me to this point now where I am. Because honestly, the only thing I did in relation to my business and figuring out the success was just to show up. That is the only thing I did for the past, let me see. I'd say this year I've had more success than I had in all previous years combined.
Nice.
100% financially, emotionally, like because the connections I'm making are so great. And closing people has just become like a dime a dozen for me now. Like I closed 4 people this month for residual income.
Nice.
Never did that before. And honestly, what I think is funny is the first guy who reached out to me, uh, that where it became a paid, where I started to collect more residual income, reached out to me and he's like, dude, I'm getting so much value from everything that you're doing that I want to pay you. And I was super confused. I was like, what are you talking about? Like this doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like I couldn't process what I had done for him in any level on anything at all. But he's like, no, like, dude, you introduced me to Michael and you introduced me to Marshall.
Hmm.
And it was like the connections that I provided to him were so important that he was wanted just to call me and say we need to make this like a paid thing. And I was like, crazy. And I really got to give a shout out to Devosky because after that I just started to close people left and right for this thing. And it's been a really great source of income for me. And I'm just like, no longer am I in the process of like, is this working? What am I doing? Does this have any future? It's more just
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm starting to like organize my thoughts and I study outside of this. If I'm not like actively working on the business, I'm actively studying how to get
Hmm.
better at it. And so because of that, those two things, I'm like, oh, this is working. This is how this is coming together. And like I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna happen or not, but there's a guy that I connected with named Aiden, and he runs this homeless nonprofit where he basically is in the viewpoint of helping the homeless get back onto their feet and everything. And I wrote a book called Making the Action the Greatest Habit, where I focus on one of my key parts of that book is I look at when I was homeless and I took this journey of living on the streets, doing drugs, drinking, smoking cigarettes, to being completely sober, changing my life around, and then becoming a homeowner. And the whole goal of what I did not realize, but the whole goal of this book has turned into we need to get this into the hands of the homeless because if they can read this book, it could change their lives. And in 5 to 10 years, I even specifically mentioned that 5 to 10 year time frames can be life altering. So yeah, good stuff is happening. Oh, the reason why I said that though is because on Monday I might be getting on TV in front of like he said like 2 million people, but I'm like I know Aiden and he's like not trying to he's like an honest good guy, but I'm like that would be a lot of people in front of me, which would be awesome. Which
That's
would be awesome.
crazy. Two
Yeah.
million is insane. Um, First of all, put
Yeah.
me in
What's up?
touch with the guy that does the homeless nonprofit. If he
Yeah.
needs a website, I haven't done any nonprofit work and I'm looking to do it.
Okay.
I would love to delve into that.
Yeah.
But
I'll just-
yeah, I mean, I don't know how helpful it would be. Homeless people have phones actually, so yes, it might be helpful, but also just to get support they need.
Yeah.
But also, it's so funny you said that because this month has been by far, I got more I think, yeah, more sales this month than maybe like my entire existence of my agency before
Really?
that. And it's not like one thing. One of it is like a person that I had a coffee with a year ago, and they're like, yeah, now let's start the website now.
Now.
One of them came from my in-person networking. Let me think. One of them is just someone I texted randomly, like a martial arts gym. I texted randomly a while back, and they just want to start working together now. It's like people that I had talked to before and they seemed interested and now they want to start. So it's not like I made a bunch of sales this month specifically. I made one like cold call last month that turned into a sale this month.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, it's been a very, very, very successful month for me. It's been
Nice.
very, very happy. And my business is not one where I think in terms of like, oh, is this going to work out? I know if I put more effort into this, it's going to be extremely successful.
Yeah.
Partly because the model is so good.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm a somewhat likable person that provides reliable work. And then
I'm a somewhat likable person.
my
That was
websites are
awesome.
my websites are so good, man. Like there's so many shitty
Okay.
web designers. And the one guy I made a call to last month, he was with this agency. So
Yeah.
one way the reason why I'm also very, very hopeful about my agency right now is because
Yeah.
I've been stealing clients off this one other agency that charges like 3 or 4 times whatever I charge. They make shitty websites. They're a gigantic agency. They offshore all their as much work as they can,
Oh,
and
that's
people
funny.
hate working with them. And they're in the same city as me. So when I call people, they think it's someone associated with that agency, like one of their support teams or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And I've been talking to so many of these people. And at the start, I was just like wanting to learn like pricing, any issues, any pain points. And now I know exactly what the issues with that agency are, around what they charge.
That's
And
so funny.
it's like 1 in 3 people I talk to, like, okay, I'm really considering you right now, which is insane rate for me. But and it's so like I believe in
Interesting.
myself so much taking these people's clients because
Yeah.
some people think it's like unethical or whatever. Obviously, it's not because if you're doing something better for these small business owners, that's the ethical thing to do at the end of the day, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're taking money out of this gigantic agency's pocket. But
Hmm.
one of my guys that I just signed from this agency, he was with them for all of last year. He spent 12K, I think, in 1 year for his website because he did additional marketing as well, and he
Yeah.
got one lead from his website for that whole year. And this is a
Wow.
small business owner, so that's a significant amount of money for him. Within, I think his website went like we finished the demo. I made it live on the October 22nd or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
like that. On the 23rd, he got a submission from his contact form on his website for someone to like get a quote in his city for doing like some contract on their business.
Okay.
And like that's happened to me before where I've once again taken it from an agency. This is a different agency, but I've taken their client and
Stealing.
the day after their website went live, they got a lead for like the first time in maybe 10 years or something like that. So
Really? No
my
way.
websites aren't guaranteed to do that by any means,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's something
They're out
about
there.
them that's obviously it's effective. There's something
Yeah,
about it that's effective, that's
yeah.
better in the long run for these small business owners. And yeah, that's part of the reason why my business has been successful more recently and why I think it'll grow a lot more in the near
Hmm.
future.
Cool.
But yeah, it just takes more effort for me to make these websites and do more outreach, you know?
Of course. Of course. I respect that. I'd actually like to see one of your websites or something like that. What's one of the pages that you have built?
I wish we had this conversation a week later because I'm going to be building a website that it's by far the best looking website I've ever done.
Okay.
Let me put a different one in the chat. This is the
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
I was talking
I'm
about.
sure it'll be great.
Oh no, 100%. I'm so confident because the thing about my agency as well is that my websites, like I said, they're all hand coded.
Yeah.
So in terms of like performance, ranking on Google conversions, it's almost as good as it can possibly be because they're made in the hardest but best way possible.
Okay.
But also, like when someone's if someone's hand coding a website, if they're making it from scratch and putting all that extra effort, I
Yeah.
also feel like that kind of person, and I'm very biased because I'm talking about myself right now. I feel like that kind of person is also not going to cut corners elsewhere when they're making your website.
Okay.
So you can have a hand coded website that's terrible, but I feel like if someone's going through the work of hand coding your website, it's probably going to be just better overall. They're
Sure.
going to put more thought, more pride into constructing it, and I think that's part of the reason why my websites do so well.
That's awesome, man. No, and it's great too, because down here you have get a free quote, up here request an estimate. Like we're hitting those buttons and get a free, here's another one, get a free quote, get a free quote. That's
You
sick,
litter
man.
the page with them. You litter the page with them, man.
Yeah, yeah.
As many as you can. Because if someone, and I say this, this is my like exact verbiage, if someone has a little inkling in their head that they want to contact you, you got to have a button right in their face or a way for them to contact you as often as possible so they can go on that desire and actually contact you, right?
Right.
Like, you don't make it difficult for them. Make it as frictionless as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how Amazon works, right? It's like make it easy.
Oh yeah. Same thing with Shopify. That's why their checkout does so well because they've tested it and they know how to make it so people actually convert.
I didn't realize Shopify spent the time to do that. That's cool.
They
That's
always
cool.
claim it's the highest converting checkout in the world. So I'm just copying what they're saying. They
Always.
could be lying. Who knows?
Sure. Yeah, how would you know? I mean, is
Right.
that based off percentage? Is it like, because it, like
It
you have
has
to
to be,
think,
right?
it's something like that. Like you can't just, I feel like purchasing things online is so easy nowadays. It's like you click six buttons. You could do it wrong and still purchase things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My favorite quote on that is like when someone purchases something and they open it and you're like, "What? What?" They get it at their door and they're like,
What is this?
what is
Yeah.
this?" And they, why is there a guitar here? Why does this have I was drunk and I bought this. This
I
is crazy."
I swear that's how my girlfriend acts sometimes. We'll be at the lobby of our condo and she'll have like a package. She's like, "Oh, what did I order this time?" I'm like, "How do you
What do
not know
you
what you ordered?
mean?
How many things are you ordering that you've lost track at this point?" It's crazy, man. It's
That's
crazy.
funny. That's funny. That's cool, man. I like it. I like it.
You like the website?
Sorry?
Did you like the website?
Yeah, man, that was awesome. You're like, yeah, damn right. Of course, it's the
I take
best.
a that's part of the reason why I think I work so well with contractors, even though these are like blue collar guys, and I'm
Yeah.
like a nerdy tech guy, right? Well,
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
oversimplify it like that. I work so well with these people because a lot of those guys take pride in their work and their craftsmanship,
Mm,
and I do as well, which I think is extremely rare for
mm,
web designers. A lot of these guys will automate the process as much as possible to pump out as much as they can. Doesn't
mhm.
matter what the quality is, they just want to pump out as much as they can if it means more profit, and I will specifically do things that take more time that have no bearing on how much money I'm going to make from that sale
Really?
or from that website because I want to be as good as possible.
Huh. Why be like that though? I mean, with AI and I like I want to validate you on this that I really respect that viewpoint that you're like I do want to hand code everything by, everything that you're doing to like fulfill that need. But like what is it for you? Like what's that thing about it that you're like I need this in some way?
I think a lot of it has to do with I don't want to be like alienated from my labor. I want to see the
Okay.
fruits of my labor. I want to see how effective it can be. I want to hone my skills. I'm not just doing this. I wouldn't be doing this if it was just for a paycheck.
Really?
I do it because I like making websites. This tickles the logic part of my brain and it tickles the creative part of my brain.
Yeah.
And it's just something I found that is fulfilling for me, especially because I can be helping small business owners out, especially if I'm saving them money and getting them more leads. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing I'm doing for these guys. And part of the reason, like, I can kind of prove that is one, I hand code my sites, and then two, I'm very unique in the sense that I don't do any contracts or lock in with my websites. So if someone's unhappy with it, they're not like tied to force to stay with me for like another year or something like that. Because
Okay.
if they're unhappy and they don't like the website, by all means, let's part ways. You, I don't want to force you to pay me for something you're not happy with, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very much like trying to get the best outcome for the people I work with because I'm working with literally some guys that are running their own businesses like by themselves. They're
Mhm.
sole proprietors, and I'm just trying to help out and do something that's fulfilling for me
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also get paid for it. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing this
Of course.
probably if I was not paid, but I mean, we're talking about the nonprofit before. I'm probably going to offer to do that one unpaid.
So funny. I'll give you a heads up that I'm like they do have a website and everything and they are probably fine, but if you want to help them in some way, I'm sure they'll appreciate it. You might like Aiden's dad quite a bit because he is a programmer and that's what he did for his career. So I didn't even know that until like I think it was yesterday where he brought it up and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, if you help us, you can earn commissions anywhere from like." He was like, "My dad has like a $20,000 product, a 40,000, but we go up to like $100,000 product." I'm like,
Dang.
Is that not like the first thing you tell someone when you talk to them? Like that's so vital. You're like, no, 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 we're focused on the non-profit. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah,
Good.
good for them, man.
Good for
Good for them.
you.
They
Yeah,
wouldn't be running it if they didn't believe in it, you know? Nobody runs
totally.
the nonprofits for the profit.
No, it's true. It's true. And it's crazy, man. Like they had something pretty cool happen to them where they got onto this networking app, and through doing that, they ended up finding the right connection. They got international attention, and
Nice.
then they pretty much are now going to I'm trying to remember the name of it. Like I'm not even exaggerating this. They're trying to get like the governor of Florida to be at their events. They're trying to get like foreign leaders from like Africa to be at their events. I'm just
Nice.
like, this is crazy. And Aiden's cool, man. He's like, yeah, I have to make like 400 dials, and then I'm gonna do project management and like, oh, you want to book a podcast? Let's do podcasting. I'm just like, dude, you're so cool. He's like, he's a teenager.
He's a teenager?
He's a teenager, and he runs this company. He runs this nonprofit with his dad, and they're just cool guys, man. I feel really fortunate that I came across them because deep down inside, like I love helping people, and that's something that fulfills me in some way. So I think our partnership is pretty meaningful altogether because it's like if I saw like the books getting into the hands of the homeless, I'd be like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh. Because in addition to that, I also provided like 10 contacts for people to reach out to if they're homeless.
Hmm.
So either those people are going to love me or hate me if they reach out to them.
I'm assuming you gave these contacts for a reason, right? Like these are people where you trust them and you know that they're able to help out in
There are
some way,
people in my
probably.
network, but I never intended it to be like getting into the hands of the homeless so that they would contact them. If that happens and they're like, hey, I need help. Can like what suggestions do you have? Then that would be great.
If I get contacted by a homeless person, I'm gonna know who sent them my
Be like,
way.
it's my fault.
It's Ian's fault. This is
I did
because of
that.
him.
I did this. I did
Yeah,
this
that's cool.
for
I'd be
you.
interested in taking a peek at their website and see.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they have one and it's working for them and they don't think a new one's gonna help out, doesn't make sense. But
No, you're good. I'll
I'm
send it
still
to you.
trying to get into that space somehow. I have zero nonprofits. I'm trying to collect someone in every industry or every something. But my Pokedex isn't building too fast. It just
You
seems
say
to be contractors.
Pokedex, you just used a
Oh yeah.
Pokemon,
Oh yeah.
right? You're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, all day, every
Yeah, I
day.
did. Yeah, I did.
I just
Why
like
not?
that. I no no no, I just like that so much because I grew up on Pokemon. And so to like have other people use it and like slang like that, it makes my day.
Why not? Dude, they got a pretty nice website.
Yeah, 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 they do. They do. They
That's beautiful.
yep.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so crazy that he's a teenager running this.
I know. It was funny because he was like he was talking to me about making something for me, and he was like, "Yeah, we do it for this much," and do. I was just out of curiosity. I was like, "Dude, like, how are you doing in sales?" He's like, "Well, I closed like someone for 2K last week," and I was like, "Are you joking me?"
For the nonprofit?
Yeah, like this is a
That's
legit like this guy is like a fundraiser, a marketer, like closer, like it's
I,
really cool actually.
I like how it's in the footer, the credits say developed by McNally Software, which is by going by the last name, I'm assuming that's his
That's them.
father's company. That's so interesting. Nice.
Yeah, man, they're cool people. They're cool
Oh
people.
yeah. That's
So
sick, man. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
I started teaching myself how to program in hopes to getting like a full-time job as a programmer, but it's come to the point where I'm running my own web design agency now.
good for you. How does it feel?
It's cool, man. I like it. I like working for myself. I still do contract work for other people, but I like the web design aspect. I like the visual aspect. I don't know if I'd be able to look at a coding terminal all day and be making stuff or creating stuff and exactly, but I'm not seeing any visual response or feedback. I don't know if I'd be interested in that.
Sure.
Depends how much the paycheck is though, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's wild, man. That's wild. Cool. Well, hey, brother, I really enjoyed this call. I think it went extremely well, and I'm excited to get it out to other people so they can see it. What is the best way for other people to contact you?
The clear answer has to be my website, right? It has to
Of
be.
course it is.
I love it when people, when I'm talking to people and they're like, "Oh, do you have like a website?" My go-to one-liner is always, "Imagine if I didn't. Imagine if I
Imagine
was
if I
calling you to sell websites
did.
and I didn't." But my agency is called Onkyo Web Designs. The website is onkyowebdesigns.ca. It's ONKYOH Web Designs with an S at the end .ca. Did I spell it correctly?
Maybe you should spell it. Maybe you should put it in the chat so we can
Okay.
make sure
Okay.
I get it right.
I'm gonna be redoing my this is the thing. I don't this iteration of my website is not bad. I'm gonna be redoing it, but right now I'm a little bit busy with client works, but I've kind of changed my branding a little bit. So eventually I'll have to get down to that, but it works. It works as it is right now.
I like this. I like this.
You got the link? Awesome.
Fastest in Canada.
That might be a lie because there
Boom.
are people that make hand-coded websites in Canada as well,
Either way.
but it should be amongst the fastest
Oh, these are other people's websites that you're working.
that I made, yeah.
That's cool. Do you also put your website name on theirs?
Yeah, I do it because one, so the Open Mat MMA one, for example, I've been to, that's my martial arts gym that I attend, and I've had people that I was like working out with. They're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm actually a web designer. I made the website for the gym we're taking a class in right now." And they're like, "Oh my God, I found your agency's website through the footer of that website." So I
No
do it for that
way.
reason, and then also it builds authority on this website because there's
Yeah,
more
of course
websites
it does.
linking to it, right?
Yep. Yep.
Dude, you're scaring me. The
Why?
aspect ratio on your screen is such like an uncanny one that if you don't have a properly responsive website, something very easily could be like going off screen or seem very like broken or something like
Wait,
that.
wait,
I've
wait.
never looked at my websites in this aspect ratio before. I don't think so.
Oh, I see. Do you see it as like it's hunky or something like that? Like what's
It's
happening here?
not funky at all, but it's so scary because if I don't make them right on your screen, it will not be looking normal. Things will go off screen.
Huh. I mean, I'm seeing everything fine on my side. It might just be the
It
share
looks
screen.
fine here as well. It's just scary, man. I don't test it on at this resolution or anything like that.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And why hand-coded websites perform the best?
2023, October 18th, 2023. That is 2 years ago. That's crazy when I wrote that.
Oh, that's cool, man. Good for you. Good for you for figuring this out, doing all this stuff.
Oh yeah. Thanks,
Interesting.
man.
So is this, just out of curiosity, do you have this text
hmm
from here going up the same on all of these?
No. So I
Really?
think the correct way to do that is to change it at least a little bit.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
Sometimes people say it doesn't matter, sometimes it does, but it should be changed a little bit. Google doesn't like duplicate content too much.
Okay.
Or at least they might be okay with it at the very most, but there's also just a possibility that they don't like it. I don't know if it's 100% certain.
That's
But yeah,
clever.
these are a lot of people don't realize if you want to rank in a specific location, you
Yeah.
can't have one page. Like you can't have the homepage ranking for multiple locations around Toronto, right? If you want to rank for a specific city or something like that for a specific service, you make a dedicated page targeting a specific service for a specific location. You Google wants to give the most relevant answer, and the way to do that is to make it like very distinct what each page is for, you know?
Wow. Interesting. So walking into this, how much SEO did you know?
None. This is only on page SEO. So this is the there's
Seriously?
there's technical SEO, which is like how well your site performs,
Yeah.
how it's structured, all that stuff. Hand-coded
Yep.
websites maximize that completely. They load the fastest. They use semantic HTML, so the elements that are being used to build the website are like very descriptive. It makes it easier for Google's crawler to read it and understand it. Who
If
knows
it's
how much of
hand
a
coded
yeah.
versus what AI coded, or what do you mean?
No, like a page builder. So like if you're on WordPress, you're drag and dropping stuff to build the website.
Oh,
When
got
it
it.
does that, it uses one element. It's called a div,
Okay.
and it just uses that div element for every single element on the screen, and that's not descriptive. The Google's crawler will not really understand. It will understand the copy that's the text that's inside the div element, but
Yeah.
it won't understand the structure of the website as much. When I have it, I have like element for the navigation. I have header elements for the headers and stuff like that. Each
Really?
element is the most precise. It's very accessible because of that, but it's the most precise element you can use for that specific element that you want to display on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but I'm just curious, like, did you naturally want to do that, or was that just something that came about because of some other reason?
I mean, that's how you make a hand-coded site. If you're making a hand-coded site, the best way to do it is to use semantic HTML. You could technically, like I said, the same way a page builder does it with a bunch of divs, you could do that as well, but you have the benefit of being more semantically correct when you make hand-coded websites, you know?
Interesting, and
So
that
why
makes it
not?
easier for Google to read it as well.
And it's more accessible. It's better for
Got
screen
it.
readers, I believe.
That's crazy because I'm having such a blowout moment with this because there's a guy named Brandon LeBoyts, and I did an interview with him, and he said the two most important things that you can do to get more rankings on a page is by having backlinks
Hmm.
and a lot of copy on your page. And I was like, oh, super cool. So, like, throughout the months and years, I was actually stressed out about it because I was like, how am I ever going to get backlinks? I don't know who owns a website. I don't da 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 da. Like, it just totally escaped me in relation to a thing to do. And then I ended up hiring a guy to just
Hmm.
do backlinks for me because I was like, oh, that's a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then hearing you say this on top of it, it's like, wow, if you piece this all together correctly, it's not like the thing I don't like about social media, for example, is it's like you're playing into someone else's creation and you
Oh
have
yeah.
to figure it out by problem and piece and puzzle piece. It's like it's so complicated and like regardless of how long I've been doing it or not, like it is subpar at best. But with a website, it's very easy. Like everyone's like, this is just how you do it.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, cool. Like everyone's just providing you the information. There isn't like a Google, there isn't like a Facebook analytics guy that's like, if you post your content this way and do it this way, maybe there is. But in relation to websites and stuff like that, a lot of people know how to rank and get better ratings with websites than I've ever seen anybody talk about social media.
Yeah, and it's hard because people will share information that's not necessarily true. It's just what they've heard.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, when it comes to SEO, there's off-page SEO, which is like the backlinks you're talking about, super important, maybe the most important thing. You get those from like social media, from directories, or from blogs, and
Yep.
then there's on-page SEO. That's all the technical stuff, so how the website's actually made, and then it's all the copy, all the content that you have on your website, because Google wants to refer something that's relevant for the user at the end of the day. So one of the tricks is to write a ton of copy, like roughly 800 to 1,200 words for a particular service in a particular area, and that
Interesting.
gives you the best chance. That's why my struct those service pages are very content heavy, not a lot of pictures, because it's a very friendly way to structure all that content. And ultimately, those pages are for Google to pick up
Okay.
and for someone to land onto my website when they otherwise wouldn't have found it, except through those location pages. And some of them rank very well. Some of the like smaller areas around me, they're top five search results, and some of the bigger cities, they're nowhere to be found. But
Huh.
that's how you rank.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You, you, I feel like this would be important for someone else to kind of like grasp onto in relation to like if they're pursuing this whole route of like marketing and like building websites and doing all of that kind of stuff. Like writing a book, I will say, is one of the best marketing strategies I didn't realize how easy it was going to be to sell a book online. So I've been trying to sell stuff online for like 8 years, and I've had a really hard time with it. Like I would get a lead maybe every 3 or 4 months. Like they were great, they were awesome. They were like, I'm ready to sign up and all that jazz. But when I wrote a book, I literally had 4 people buy a copy of it just by seeing the post,
That's
and I
sick.
was like, how?
Maybe you just got better at selling though. Maybe that's what it was. All of your efforts and learning on how to sell when it came to actually selling your book,
Oh,
maybe it just became better. You never know. Could be. Could be that. But maybe books are easier to sell. Who knows? Why
they
not?
are. That's my opinion. I think it's a little bit like I think social media also encourages it a little bit more. It makes it a little bit more like it wants that type of content because it's very easy for me to figure out like after a certain point in time if social media is like we support or don't support this.
Mhm.
And if you don't find like it's very easy to find the things it doesn't support, but when you find the things it does support, it's like, oh, this is gold, like
Yeah.
and especially like with a sellable item, it makes it just like that much better. And what I can say from that is I sold my like I posted my book, someone bought it just from seeing the post. I got on a call with that guy, then he bought another service from me.
Nice.
I was like, that's dope.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, man, good times, good times. It's like it has a direction and emotion, and it'll soon be a train that moves all by itself.
Oh yeah. As soon as it picks up momentum, it just keeps going, eh?
Is that how that works?
I think so, man. I think so. I think it's always the hardest at the beginning, whether it's through more people getting eyes on your product or whatever,
Yeah,
and then also you just become better at how to advertise and sell it. I think those two things probably go hand in hand, and then it just picks up momentum and it keeps going. Obviously, things can happen along the way, but I
yeah,
think in general it becomes easier as time goes on,
that's cool.
as most things do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, hey, I've liked this conversation. I feel like it was like very insightful, and I feel like anyone who's like interested in networking or wants to network is going to gain a lot of value just from seeing this episode all by itself.
Hmm.
But just for knowing what you do as well, like I regardless of how many times we would have talked about it on the phone or did it onto a Zoom call, like this it Marshall Brooks talks about this, and this is like one of those one-on-one meetings that we
Oh
just
yeah.
had. And anytime I think of a website or anything now, I'm like thinking of you. I know other people as well, but because I've spent so much time talking with you about it and how yours is different from others, I have the best understanding of why yours works so well and the way it does.
I agree, man. I think that's one of the reasons to network, like we said, you get to learn about people's offerings more in person or more in depth, and then you can make better connections because of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree as well. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for having me on. Um, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah, man. I agree. I agree. I'll look forward to getting this out. And this is exciting. Like honestly, for just on a personal level, like 2013, being on the streets and talking to random strangers and being like, "Do you want to?" I literally said this to a guy on the street in Denver, Colorado at night. I was like, "Excuse me, sir, sir." It's so awkward, sir. Would you be open to hearing about my business opportunity? He's like, no, and he just walked away, as he should have. He should have.
Yeah,
He should
right?
have.
Can't blame him.
That was
Can't blame.
correct. That was correct of him. That was incorrect of me.
But you live and you learn, you know?
It's true. There's this really funny video that I saw like I think it was like 6 weeks ago, and it's this dog who is trying to like I don't know what the video is like the dog trying to scare the owner or like what exactly the whole purpose of the video was, but it would the dog was being filmed and it would approach the owner in like seven like different ways on a
Hmm.
consistent basis and everything like that. And I think it was like dropping the laundry basket, like that was the dog's goal. And it didn't work like 14 times, but on the 15th time, the dog figured out how to get the owner to drop the basket. And in the post below, it said, all you have to do to get better results is change your approach. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
wow.
You can't keep trying the same thing every time, right? It's got to be a little bit different every time. You find out
Yep.
what works.
Mhm. Yeah, and from what I've seen as well when I did my study on habits, it's like when you do that for a long enough time frame, you eventually will naturally figure it out. Like you're gonna and sometimes you won't even know why certain
Definitely
things
not.
work better, but you're like, for whatever reason, this just works this way. And there's not like it's not like an educated response. It's just by doing it alone that you understand.
Yeah, if you do something even implicitly and it's better, you get a
Hmm.
better outcome.
Hmm.
Your brain doesn't, it's positive reinforcement. Your brain doesn't need
Yeah.
to explicitly know about that for that to become more ingrained into your behavior. You'll just
Hmm.
naturally, especially if it happens multiple times over and over again. If
Yep.
it happens once, who knows? But yeah, man, that's how the brain works. That's human brain works.
I love this because you just talked about like a portion of the book, which is rewarding certain behaviors. And if you do it a number of times over and it becomes rewarding enough, you will want to repeat doing the activity.
We didn't mention this, but I have a bachelor's of science in
Oh,
biology and psychology.
do
So
you really? How
yeah,
fascinating.
not
Wow.
relevant to what I do now,
No,
but
it's
is
okay.
relevant for this conversation.
No, it is. It is. Do you we might have to have this on a different podcast episode, but how much about habits do you know?
I've only mostly from literature that I've read or listened to,
Okay.
especially a while back. I haven't listened to anything recently. But yeah, you learn some stuff in if you take it academically, but how much of that is applicable, realistic? I mean, you learn some cool facts and stuff like that, but you can definitely learn a lot more in one book that's relevant for human behavior
Yeah.
than over the course of a 4-year degree.
Wow. Wow. No, I agree with
But
you. I agree with
I
you.
don't think I know too much, but
That's okay.
enough.
Did you ever read The Power of Habit by chance or Atomic Habits?
Atomic Habits, yeah.
You did? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. I really
That's
liked it. That's what I'm saying. I learned a lot of stuff, and
uh-huh.
I took a lot of things from that were very applicable. Um, but yeah, it's like you learn completely different things from books like that versus what you would read in a textbook, right?
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. The nice thing about that book is it was like really well laid out. Like I love all the concepts that he talked about. He provided a lot of statistical
Oh yeah.
information. It wasn't just like theory and fluff. It was like this has been proven over and over. And it was like all of it was just practical knowledge. It was fantastic.
Have you read Deep Work by Cal Newport?
What is it?
Read slash listen to it. It's about deep work. Maybe not super relevant for everybody. It's for people that have particularly intellectually like stimulating jobs or things like that. But it's completely different content, but it's very much in the same style as Atomic Habits, where it's anecdotes and it's statistics and like wide-ranging anecdotes from like large groups of people.
Oh,
But it
cool.
goes into like how to effectively do the best possible work you can in the shortest amount of time possible. So not super relevant
Really?
for everyone. Like an artist doesn't necessarily need to do deep work, but if you're a programmer or something like that, it could be very helpful.
No, that sounds awesome, actually. Like hearing different ways to become more, you're saying learning different ways to
Basically.
basically be as productive as possible.
Oh yeah, basically,
That's
yeah.
that what is deep work.
Yeah, Deep Work by Cal Newport.
Looking this up now.
It's that's like that and Atomic Habits are the best books I've ever listened to.
Really? That was
Yeah.
you just made me a fan.
Yeah. It's a really good book.
Cool. Cool. I'm excited. Dope. Okay. Well, awesome, man. I'm gonna mention this in the chat. We're gonna have a great day, and I'm gonna excited for you to share this episode. Oh, you could put this on your website if you wanted to.
Yes, I actually would like to probably do that because I've seen some other stuff for other web designers and it might be very relevant. It might be very, or
Nice.
at least a clip from it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's really
Awesome,
cool.
buddy.
I'll probably do that.
Cool,
Let me know,
Adnan.
man. Let me know.
Okay, we'll do. Alrighty. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.